we're back. We're the Johnson brothers. We're the Nerd Brothers. I'm Hunter Johnson here with...
I'm Wyatt Johnson.
Yep, he is.
Yep.
Seemed to forget your name there for a second.
Back with the podcast. I think I was replaced with the little one last time.
Yeah, Solomon was on last time. He was enjoyable.
Yep.
Sure.
Solomon knows some things. Like, he's really good about certain topics.
The stuff that we talked about. Like, everything he knows is in all of the last podcasts
he's
that we talked about.
He's an expert. He's a consultant in very specific topics.
So we are here today, and we are talking about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. We're giving our full review on the film, what we thought about it, whether or not we liked it or didn't like it.
Yeah, here's the thing. For this review, I just really hope that this episode goes well. Like, I can't really express how much hope that I really want. Like, hope is a big thing here, because without hope, you need hope.
Yep.
That's how many times. That's what it felt like watching this movie. I loved this movie. I mean, we're gonna get into it later, but I think they said hope too many times.
Yeah, they did say hope a lot.
They said hope a lot.
Honestly, I didn't think about it, but
now you have to.
Okay, so Rogue One, obviously the prequel to the original Star Wars: A New Hope, takes place. Spoilers, by the way, heavy spoilers. We don't need a non-spoiler section. We don't care about you guys who haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it by now, you're okay. Movie starts like, it starts way back, like 15 years before A New Hope. It shows the Erso family growing up, or Jyn Erso growing up with her parents, and then the plot goes so.
Yeah, I guess so.
Plot.
It's not a flashback though, because Star Wars has never done a flashback before.
Until this movie in a later scene.
So I don't really know why they did it this way. I mean, it works. It's fine.
Well, it's mainly.
Matter.
See, here's the thing. I'm a Star Wars book reader, which I'm not sure I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But the thing is, there's a book that they made called Star Wars Catalyst, and it's a prequel to this prequel. It shows Galen Erso, who's the father of the main girl in this movie. It shows his life before this movie takes place, and the book ends pretty much where this movie picks up.
So, I know you're happy because of it, but do you think from a movie standpoint, from a cinema, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. From that point of view, was that a smart move, or was that just trying to make the fans that read the extended universe happy?
As far as, like, that opening scene?
Yeah, you think the movie would have been better if they didn't have that?
Oh, no. That opening scene meant a whole ton to people like me who read the book, and to people who didn't, I feel like it still worked. Maybe they didn't feel as much for those characters because you were just getting introduced to them, but for people like me who, first off, this was one of the best books I've ever read from Star Wars. So,
which book?
Catalyst,
okay.
Yeah. So he's going to read that in like a day, and then he's going to finish it in like an hour after that.
I wish I read it before this movie, but I think that would have added to this. It would have made things a little bit more clear, because this movie is pretty fast-paced. They kind of jump from different location to location, and they introduce characters rather fast. So I'm a little bit jealous I didn't read Catalyst, but at the same time, the movie does a good job of explaining some things.
But as far as like overall feel for the movie, I loved it. It was
a really good movie.
It was a great film. I honestly still haven't decided if I like it more or less than The Force Awakens. Mm-hmm. Because Force Awakens, I think I've gotten to the point where Force Awakens overall is a better film. Like, everything seems to connect more, and everything seems to, like, it was always meant to happen in that film. This movie, there's moments in the film that are infinitely better than Force Awakens, though.
Right. I know Force Awakens probably has more reviews, but they have the exact same score on IMDb, both at 8.2 out of 10. So,
cool. And IMDb is like totally trustworthy as far as scores.
Yeah. So
no, they're not.
Yeah, they kind of am.
Whatever.
They kind of are, dude.
I always look at Rotten Tomatoes as far as scores, but
yeah.
And it's got that 84% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think that's a great score. But as far as it being less than Force Awakens, it's mainly because it did often feel like you're missing some stuff because of the book, and just because of Star Wars nerds in general will know more if they are involved in the extended universe.
Mm.
But it still worked. The movie had amazing scenes. Can we just talk about Darth Vader?
Yeah, we might want to.
I don't want to lead up to anything.
We might want to save him for later.
Why?
Because he's the best part of this movie.
Yeah, but people aren't going to stay for the end.
You can skip to that part. It's at 8 minutes and 42 seconds where we talk about Darth Vader.
It's already been that much already.
Is it really?
It's almost already been that much.
Well, we'll get to it fast. All right, let's first do a brief review on the main characters.
Sure.
Okay, so Felicity Jones played Urso.
Jyn Erso. Yep.
Jyn Erso. I think she played the part really well. I was a little bit worried because she doesn't seem that menacing, you know? She doesn't really have that face.
Do you want her to be menacing?
I mean, I think she was in this movie.
Oh. Not as menacing as Rey. Rey had that, like, yell when she was, like, attacking someone in Force Awakens.
Right, that's true.
But, you know, I think I know what you're saying.
And then...
No, she was great, though. She really owned this movie.
Yeah.
I was a little worried about her because, honestly, I wasn't sure if she could hold a Star Wars movie.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. I was a little bit worried about her range, but and then you got Cassian, which I think blew me away out of the cast.
Yeah, he is my favorite part of this movie. I'm pretty sure. Diego Luna, he's a great actor. I haven't seen him in too many things. I saw him in The Terminal. He played the Trekkie. He played the Trekkie in The Terminal. But as far as that, he's great, and he's like a huge Star Wars fan though in real life. Like, if you watch any interview with him, he's just, like, nerding out all the time. The fact that he still can't believe he's in this movie. He was great, though. Who's next?
Probably my favorite character, my favorite actor that was in this movie was Donnie Yen playing Chirrut.
Donnie Yen.
Yeah,
Ip Man himself.
Basically
he
playing the
Ip
role
Man.
Ip Man because that's what he's best at. He played someone that was more or less Force sensitive.
Yeah, it was odd. Like, he played... a keeper of the wills, which is an old reference to Star Wars, to old Star Wars stuff, but he basically plays a Force user who more trusts the Force rather than uses it.
Yeah. And then I don't want to get too hung up on this part, so I'm going to blow through a couple. You got Alan playing K2SO.
Oh, yeah, Alan Tudyk, he's great. That's most people's favorite character online. He was great. He was probably my second favorite, though.
Forrest Whitaker was in there. He was pretty good. Not a ton of Forrest Whitaker.
Saw Gerrera. Clone Wars references. So many references in this movie.
Yeah, seriously. Galen Erso, again, he wasn't in a ton, but pretty good. I want to focus on Krennic, played by Ben Mendelsohn. Okay, I know I just said that Cassian probably blew me away, but this guy actually was perfect, I think, for this role. The perfect cast.
Now, Krennic... Obviously, he's the bad guy, played by Ben Mendelsohn. Krennic was the main character of the book Catalyst. Mm-hmm. He's just in it throughout, playing a manipulative guy who's just manipulating people's lives to make it so he can create the Death Star, essentially, create weaponize the Death Star. And Ben Mendelsohn is exactly the character I read in the book. He plays him perfectly, and even the way he delivered his lines were just amazing. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I think there was a perfect amount of build-up from Ben Mendelsohn that kind of showed that this character, he was desperate, but also competent at the same time. Yeah. And they showed that through him, like, finding Galen and then just putting all the Death Star stuff together. So, yeah, that was pretty fantastic.
Any other guys in this?
You got James Earl Jones in there.
Sure. James Earl Jones has never really been, like, he's not someone like, oh, James Earl Jones was so good in that Star Wars. It's more of just his presence is always nice.
Yeah, it's just comforting to know that he is returning for that. And then, of course, you have... I can't find it. I'm trying to find the Doctor Who guy.
Wait, the Doctor Who guy? Or Sherlock?
The Sherlock
Jonathan Aris. Yeah. Jonathan Aris comes in. He's just an annoying character on Sherlock.
Snuck in there.
And he just had a cameo as this rebel officer who's basically just saying the rebellion is doomed and they should all give up and go home.
Yeah, so depressing. Come on, man.
Jimmy Smits is back as Bail Organa. He was in the whole original trilogy, or not the prequel trilogy, as Bail Organa.
Yeah.
So that's a great callback. More references. Mon Mothma's in it. More references to the original trilogy.
It was really cool to see all these these faces that we know. So,
what's your thoughts on CGI Tarkin and CGI Leia?
I thought Tarkin was really good.
So menacing.
Yeah, they did that really well. It didn't even seem like it was CGI most of the time. It didn't take me out of the movie at all, which I was really worried about.
Like, when you first see him, it takes you out of the movie, not because it's bad CGI, but because you're like, oh, crap, I did not realize they were gonna, like, actually have Tarkin in this movie.
Yeah, that's gonna happen, but then you stop thinking about it after a while.
Sure.
So,
and I thought Leia, she's in it for just that split second, but I thought I didn't even notice any CGI on her.
Yeah, they showed Leia at the very end of the movie. I thought that was not quite as good as what they did with Tarkin, but yeah. Overall, the CGI was pretty great for this movie.
Yeah. Okay, well,
it's 8 minutes and 42 seconds in, so we should probably talk about what's that guy's face? I can't. He's a Jedi or something?
Oh, wait.
He was a Jedi?
No, they're Jeddas. They're Jeddas, right?
They live in Jeddah.
No, they live
under the sea.
No,
that's something else.
Farce. They use the farce and they they throw
gross.
and they throw lightning at people, right?
they Zeus them. Yeah. Okay, Darth Vader was probably the best part about this movie. Not so much,
even though he didn't need to be there.
It was completely fan service that he was there.
So good though.
And personally, for me, it was amazing because I kind of gave up that he was going to be in the movie any more than the couple minutes they showed initially. But then they show that scene of him taking out 10 rebels, just brutally slaughtering
that
through them.
Scene. Now I've heard. Watching some YouTube channels, I've heard people say that Darth Vader scene at the end of the movie is the best scene ever made in a Star Wars film.
Wow.
And look, I don't know if I'd go that far. I'll go that far though. That was the best scene I've ever seen in a Star Wars film.
It was fantastic.
It was just pure nerding out.
Yeah. Honestly, that's exactly what I wanted to. I'm pretty sure a year ago I said all I want is Darth Vader being amazing in an action scene. So I'm happy with what they gave.
And it's likely this is the last time we're gonna see Darth Vader, at least for a really long time, because they're gonna try going away from this original trilogy era as far as movies go from now on.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously we got Han Solo, but that's before. That's in the middle. Yeah. Director Gareth Edwards.
Yep.
He did a good job. They did reshoot 40% of this movie. So I'm not sure how much Gareth Edwards actually did. Apparently he wanted, his original script had everybody surviving the movie, and then they changed it. So.
Okay.
To everybody dying.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
To every single person dying. But he just kind of assumed that they weren't allowed to kill people because it was a Disney film. And then Disney's just like, no, man, you can kill them. That's how Disney execs talk.
Yeah, director was good. Composer, Michael
Giacchino.
Yeah, what'd you think of the soundtrack?
It was fine.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't amazing or anything. It looks like he is the Pixar guy, the Pixar's go-to soundtrack guy.
He does soundtracks all the time. Not just Pixar. He also did the new Star Trek score, which is just amazing.
Or the whole
all
trilogy?
three of the trilogy he does, and it's one of the best themes that I've never heard. He did this movie. He had 4 weeks to do the music for this, because it was a very last minute thing. They had another director that scored all the music before the reshoots, but then when the reshoots happened, that guy couldn't come back, so they got Michael Giacchino to do all the music in 4 weeks. So
wow.
For how much time he had, he did fine. It wasn't anything amazing. I mean, I heard some great callbacks to other scores. The one thing I heard, the characters dying, I feel like there should have been more presence of music in those scenes, especially K2SO's death scene. I didn't feel it as much as I would have if there was that amazing Star Wars music. Because Star Wars music should have it be its own character. But at the same time, this movie was great on its own.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about some of the references. Did you have a favorite reference that you were surprised by or just really happy they brought up?
Well, I didn't notice this the first time, but when I went back and we watched some stuff, there was some Rebels references in there.
Okay, and I know you're a big Rebels fan. I haven't gotten around to watching the series.
I'm not totally caught up in Rebels because I first went through and watched all of the Clone Wars, which is really long. It was exhausting, but it was so good. Rebels is just as good as Clone Wars, And there was, you listen to the background when the red pilots are talking to each other. You can hear General Syndulla, and that's Hera Syndulla, who is who is probably the main character on the show, at least the main girl character on the show. And we also hear about the Ghost in it. You can see the Ghost, which is the main ship that the Rebels fly around in the Rebels TV show.
Yep.
So that's great. I mean, now we know that at least Hera Syndulla and the Ghost make it through Rebels show and make it all the way. Apparently, Lucasfilm is thinking about having Rebels do some of their episodes is going to be during Rogue One. So you're going to see their perspective of the same story we just saw.
Nice. So kind of like a Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. type deal.
Sure, something like that. Hopefully better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, nice.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite reference, though.
Sweet.
What about you?
Okay, so I'm not a huge extended universe guy. I watched some of the Clone Wars, but not nearly like a whole season or anything like that. So there was one thing that I was looking forward to. I don't know, some people don't know this, but I am a big fan of nutrition. I love drinking liquids.
Okay.
Man, I couldn't keep a straight face. At the very beginning of the movie, they show you a glass of blue milk. They focus on the blue milk. The characters walk away and they just show you the blue milk. I thought that was a little bit unnecessary, but awesome at the same time. So
that's just Lucasfilm going, guys, reference blue milk.
I'm not really a nutrition guy. I was trying to build up to it. Yeah. Okay, so we could talk about your favorite character, excluding Darth Vader.
That's true. I mean, I don't consider Darth Vader my favorite character only because he's not in it that much. Mm-hmm. It's just his scenes owns the movie.
Right, exactly. It's amazing.
Oh, it's tough. It's like a 4-way tie.
Yeah.
It's like Cassian, K2SO, Krennic, and Chirrut. Mm-hmm. Out of those, I think I'd have to pick Cassian. Mm. Cassian, Chirrut and Krennic were amazing, but neither of them were the stars of this movie, and they weren't given quite as much as I wanted. K2SO, I loved him, but he was still a droid. Cassian showed the most in-depth character, which I loved.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, what about you?
See, that's tough.
You've said already three main your favorite characters.
Yeah, honestly, these characters played very different roles. You kind of need them all for this movie to be as good as it was.
They're all so good though too.
Right. They all play their part really well.
Yeah.
I think I was a big fan. I haven't really talked about it yet, so I'm gonna mention it. Forrest Whitaker's character. What was his name?
Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, Saw Gerrera. I think they kind of used him perfect. Perfectly.
He was weird.
Because from the trailers, it looks like he was gonna be that unnecessary character that just kind of, I don't know, gave someone a lightsaber or something like in Force Awakens,
right? Which
he kind of was, but he did it. He did it in a way that just kind of moved the story forward while you stayed intrigued. But I think just Forrest Whitaker was really good.
He was a jarring character for me. I wasn't totally on board just because he wasn't exactly what the character was on the Clone Wars TV show. Mm-hmm. Saw Gerrera was originally a character on the show, and it was different, and I got used to it and I got into it. It just took a little while. So, but yeah, the cast was so good in this movie.
Yeah, seriously.
Do you have any favorite scenes from the movie?
Probably
besides the Darth Vader scene.
Yeah, we always have to say that. Going through Jeddah was probably my favorite. While
Chirrut's fight scene.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, it's expected. It was predicted.
I was worried he was gonna have a not good fight scene. I was worried they were just gonna badly choreograph it.
Yeah, no, it was actually pretty good. It wasn't. It didn't blow my mind or anything. It was pretty typical, but at the same time, Donnie Yen. I mean, he knows what he's doing at this point. He knows what people want from him. Right. So they did that really well. And then his relationship with his buddy. I forget his name too. I'm terrible with names.
Baze.
Yeah.
I think Baze.
I think those two worked really well together.
Yeah.
Especially in that fight scene with Donnie Yen.
Honestly, the more I dwell on this movie, one of my favorite scenes was actually the opening scene. And I fully say it's because of the book. Because the book, I guess spoilers for the book if you're going to read it. the book ends exactly where this, like, not the same moment, but like the same place. And they describe this field and the place they're living in the book. And then the movie opens there, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I just read this. There's so many connections here. I love it so much. And then Krennic and his stormtroopers lined up, walking down the field.
Oh, so epic.
And then Galen coming out to meet them. It was
So
all
good.
just so amazingly shot, and I just loved the feel of it. It immediately grabbed me into the story.
Were you surprised that they killed off Galen's wife so quickly in the movie?
No, I expected that because she's like the main character in the book, and you didn't see her anywhere in the trailers.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
She was nowhere to be seen. I saw her on IMDb that she was this unknown actress that was like the end of the list. So I'm just like, yeah, no, she's dying at the beginning.
Okay, but it wasn't that upsetting. Like you didn't become emotionally attached to her in the book or anything.
Oh no, I was, and that was emotionally upsetting. But I
That's what
prepared for it.
Okay.
I was
Well,
prepared for it,
good.
even though she is one of the best characters in the book.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of the most drawn out characters in the book that you really understand. So yeah, that was sad. I always wished I could have more of her, but yeah, the whole Urso family, for me at least, I was really into, and they all die. I really liked the plot of them explaining the Death Star's weakness and giving like reason behind it of how it has weaknesses.
Yeah, that was interesting. I think some fans probably were a little bit upset because like they've for years had to defend this flaw in the Death Star. But now they're coming out and saying that Galen purposely put it there, so now
I actually really like that.
Yeah, I like it too, but I just feel bad for some people.
I guess. I mean, most people online aren't upset about this. They just like more explanations to make it more believable in a way. So everything that New Hope is even more believable at this movie. I mean, let's start wrapping up though. What are some final thoughts about the movie as a whole?
Overall, I was really happy because this movie was less of a Star Wars. Oh wait, how did you say it? It's not
a Star Wars film. It's a Star Wars film.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that perfectly encapsulates this movie.
Thanks,
because I love war films, but I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. Like, I'm going to go see every one in the theaters. I've seen the old ones multiple times, but I'm not going to read the extended
What about the prequel trilogy?
I've unfortunately seen those all a couple times too. So.
Oh, you don't like all the movies? What's going on here? What is this nonsense?
Oh yeah, sorry.
You'd rather go watch Mel Gibson.
Always, forever and always. I think that's a Taylor Swift reference.
Oh, okay. You had to bring up her.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just again, I was really happy that it was more of a war film than anything. What about you?
I loved it. It was, the whole movie connected to me way more than Force Awakens did.
Right.
Even though Force Awakens, I think, was overall a better film.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Just I like to say the fake cinematography in this movie, because most of the shots are of like the Death Star.
Right.
Were amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like the opening shot where you just see black, and then it turns out there's a Star Destroyer right there, and then there's a Death Star behind it.
I think we talked about this already, but this director, since he did Godzilla, I think he's really familiar with the whole scale concept, and he did that really well in this movie.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I love the movie.
Anything that you were a little bit disappointed with, just to get all nitpicky with this movie?
No. Look, the movie could have been tied together better. It got a little messy at the ending.
Yeah, the transitions.
The ending felt a little bit like, okay, everybody's dead, the plot's over. Now we can give you all the loose ends and connections to A New Hope.
I don't know if I'm just forgetting, but there was no like big Jyn speech right before she died. Was there? They just died on the beach.
Yeah, but I loved the way Jyn and Cassian died.
Oh yeah,
it was very
great.
Emotional.
They did that well.
My one big problem with this movie is the opening crawl. There wasn't one. Honestly, I think this movie needed an opening crawl more than most Star Wars movies.
That's true.
Like, most people went into this still not realizing this wasn't Episode 8. Like,
yeah, but
they could have explained all that.
Couldn't you
and
say
you
that...
also don't get the main John Williams theme ever in this movie.
Couldn't you say without the crawl, though, it kind of showed the audience that this wasn't a Star Wars Episode 8
we
movie?
but we already got that by realizing this was a war film, and Jedi are nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
There's one Darth Vader scene, but like.
Right, barely any lightsabers.
This movie was very
low
unlike
Jedis.
any other Star Wars films. You didn't need to get rid of that opening crawl. I was fine with the name cards though, as far as giving name cards to the places. It was fine. They were all at the beginning. They didn't blare you out blare them out to you throughout the movie. It was just at the beginning.
They did ruin their track record with flashbacks though.
Yeah, they showed a flashback.
I don't really care. But
yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, what's your final score of Rogue One, a Star Wars story?
Out of 10?
Yeah, out of 10, ambitions to choke on.
Ambitions to choke on. My favorite line in the movie.
I loved that line. I really did. It was classic Darth Vader line.
A lot of people don't like that line though.
Yeah, no. So anybody else that said it would have been terrible. But Darth Vader, that's a classic thing he would say.
Anything James Earl Jones says as Darth Vader is gonna be good. Yeah. I mean, come on, get over it, guys. Okay, so I would give this movie probably. I wish I knew what I gave Force Awakens. I don't have anything to compare it to. I would give this movie a 9.4.
Whoa.
Ambitions to choke on. I really enjoyed this movie. I definitely enjoyed this movie more than a Force Awakens. And
okay.
Yeah, I'll stop there. So I don't.
Do you rank it anywhere in the Star Wars films?
That's why I was actually refraining from.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to piss off anyone too much.
Oh, I'm fine with pissing off people.
Oh, okay. Well, I would say this movie is better than Episode 6.
Hurry up.
Don't
keep us waiting.
And Episode 4.
What about the prequels?
Obviously better than all the prequels. So this is my second favorite Star Wars film.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I would say Episode 5, Episode 6, and Star Wars are better than this.
Okay.
Yeah. Did I say Star Wars? Force Awakens, not A New Hope.
Oh.
I'd say this is better than A New Hope and all the prequels.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Although I rewatched New Hope, and New Hope is actually really good.
Well, it's better now because
New Hope is literally better because of this movie. Anyway, I give the movie a score of 8.8 out of 10 ambitions to choke on.
I mean, IMDb only gave it an 8.2. Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 80 something. So
yeah,
I went way up there. I know I like this movie more than most people. So.
Right? No, I loved this film, but honestly, I don't think I've ever given something a 10. Maybe The Prestige, and that's
impossible.
It. So, yeah, no, I'm a little bit more harsh, but yeah,
sounds good.
Sounds good. Yep.
Nice.
This is a great film. I'm glad. This was like refreshing. There hasn't been that many good movies this year.
Yep.
We're in Oscar season though. Come on, it could win Best Picture.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. This has been Rogue One Talk. I am Hunter Johnson here with Wyatt Johnson. Stay nerdy and have a good one.
What we should do is end the video with like 5 minute, like solid 5 minutes of us talking back and forth with no audio like they do on the news. The other last 2 minutes.
Hello!
Last 2 minutes is just us gone.
Just like one of us is gone, the other's just